on our podcast show this week, we have been reincarnated as an anime show because we are going to be exploring technology that might actually come from an anime show that could exist in our Earth One.
Earth One.
So that's what we're talking about today. And hopefully before we run out of battery power, we will be able to cover it within the next 30, 40 minutes. So with us again is Michael Barton, a up-and-coming Japanese citizen and also a huge anime fan. And he will be joining us in this chat because I think it's something that he really is passionate about because one of his favorite animes is
Bleach.
Okay,
didn't you say One Piece though?
My favorite anime all time is Bleach. Now, one of my favorite animes is Bleach.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, One Piece.
Okay.
And how about you, Winston?
I've actually, I'm sorry to say, I've been out of the anime scene for quite a while. I don't know why. Just maybe I just switched over to Star Trek. But anyway, anime, yeah, it played a big part of my life when I was younger. I watched all the series, Ghost in the Shell, that kind of stuff. I love Battle Angel Alita. That's nice. I like that. Yeah, that was only a one film thing, right? But I like that, and also all the there was one anime which probably not as popular. It's called The Crime Freeman.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was a Japanese assassin.
Oh, okay.
That it wasn't a film. It was animation. It was more comic.
Okay.
There's a manga.
I love that though because he was a Japanese assassin.
Yep.
But he was assigned to certain. And actually, it was anime. Yeah, it was because I watched it. It was in VHS tapes, by the way.
Oh, nice.
VHS tapes.
That's
wow.
Okay, that's OG anime watcher.
Yeah,
okay.
so old. Yeah. So it was basically this Japanese assassin. He was assigned to kill certain big bosses of certain groups, certain gangsters and that. But he would be always the nice looking, buffed up guy, smart, a bit like James Bond kind of thing. So, but every time he kills someone, he cries. This is called The Crime Freeman. But yeah, I love that series. That was good. That was OG, like way back in the 80s. But after that, I kind of other anime for a bit, and then kind of
fell off a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, my favorite anime of all time was actually the Macross series. Something about transforming robots and people singing in space.
It transcends all cultures and races. Is transforming robots.
It's Macross, and what's the other one with the girl?
All of them have a girl.
I can't
Continue.
Yeah. That was my wife watched that. It was to do with like space, and she had this like nice
Gurren Lagann
uniform, star. I can't remember what it was.
You've described so probably 100 animes already.
Okay. But tell us more about your favorites.
Oh, you want to hear about my favorites?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we kind of got into this on our last one, but I mean, Bleach, like I said, is my all-time favorite. Okay. I'm forcing Steven and his children to watch it.
We are watching it. We just Disney Plus needs to
tell us the gist of what Bleach is about.
Bleach follows a character named Ichigo who finds out that he can see spirits. Later, kind of turns into that he can see also the monsters involved.
So it's more of a supernatural.
Yep. And the story develops, and more he finds out. He's always been like sort of the Soul Reaper is what he is.
Yeah.
Has to defend his little town called Karakura Town, which I've looked up. Is not a real town in Japan. But if you want to find the closest resemblance, it's Sendai, Japan.
Okay, so is that based in modern era or?
Modern era. Modern era.
Okay.
Yep. And it's a continuously running show. They're now on Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Arc, Phase 3.
Is that both comic and anime?
Manga and anime.
Okay.
We don't call them comics, just to be clear here.
Sorry.
At most, graphic novels.
Graphic novels.
Yeah.
Or anime.
Okay, so since Winston was asking questions about anime, we're going to ask you, what is a technology in an anime that you believe could actually happen today and justify it? And then we'll poke holes all over it.
Well, okay, so this is way back now in the 80s. I watched an anime. It was, I think it was similar from Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
Where like the robots, it could be Ghost in the Shell. I can't quite remember, but it was a robot where AI robots and stuff like that. And now it's become reality with Elon Musk's robot thing, right? So he would take commands to do like all the house chores and stuff like that, and he would take, for example, self-driving. That all came from one of the animes I watched, because it was back then, the 80s. You couldn't imagine things like that would happen, right? You have an AI, you have a robot that'll do everything like humans, and then like self-driving and all that kind of stuff. That's all. I thought, okay, it's become reality now.
All right.
Yeah, so that was...
So was it a specific show that it came from?
I can't quite remember, but it was similar to Ghost in the Shell. It could be Ghost in the Shell, but it was definitely a robot, humanoid kind of thing involved.
Okay.
So...
Could be a lot of things. I mean, in that area that you
but
had
back then, it was
people.
80s. It was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Robots and AI, and it was something that in Japan and anime, it was all about creativity, futuristic, that kind of stuff. Similar to Blade Runner, that was in the 80s. So taking that idea and then like 50 years or 40 years on, you now have robots, you now have AI, you now have driving cars and things like that. So yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, side tangent, right? You said, Star Trek is a big thing. We didn't get sliding doors.
No.
And it's highly inspired.
And tablets.
Right.
We saw tablets on Star Trek back in the 80s. They would like bring up the pad. And now everyone has it now.
Yeah.
Pads.
Pretty normal.
Yeah.
So what technology, though, would you have? Because those are current technologies. What would you take that is still fantasy or just in an anime right now?
Just as still fantasy. I think. Apart from the robots, I'm thinking somewhere else. I think that's pretty much it. Flying cars, they're not available yet. I've seen loads of flying cars
There's
everywhere.
flying cars, but they are not the same.
I mean, they're not the same. I mean, the only thing I can think of is the hover cars from Star Wars.
Okay.
That's still not, but
you just need a little bit of Vaseline on the bottom.
because basically that technology it does exist. It's called gravity levitation or
Maglev.
maglev. Yeah. So that's already existing in trains, in bullet trains, for
from
example, right?
Beijing airport to this.
Yeah, and also in Japan with
The
the first bullet
Shinkansen.
trains they had in Japan. So it's based on that technology, maglev. So I guess soon we may have maglev cars, I suppose.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it doesn't require a rail as such where the magnets are. It is using the Earth's magnetic,
That would be
science.
interesting to see.
Science fiction.
So no wheels, no friction, no. Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah.
All right, Michael.
All right. Definitely Sword Art Online, the Nerve Gear, right?
Oh yes.
And we have Elon trying to do this with his Nerve Link, very similarly named. Neuralink, right? Absolutely. This is the one technology I would love to have today, right? You go into a video game, right? You lay down and you are the character, right? You're playing a shooting game, you're going to get shot in the arm, you're going to feel that in the arm, actually, right?
I've seen a couple of TV series with that. Called the Periphery or whatever, with Chloe, that girl. She wears that thing and then she's in that game.
Right.
In real life.
Or Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good one as well.
Yeah.
But the experience, hopefully, if anyone's watched the show, there's some bad things when you put this headset on. Hopefully we don't get there.
No.
But there's no more immersion than living the character, right?
Yeah, and the Black Mirror had one as well. Fighting one.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that level of immersion we still have yet to get to because that's a complete sensory takeover.
Right.
So you need to wear a bodysuit, right?
No. It's all in your
brain.
head.
Yeah.
All in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
All in the brain. And the funny thing is that Sword Art Online, to have that many people live that long in a headset, man, those headsets must be like, ooh.
Right.
So we're almost touching the Matrix kind of level there.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Not without the spine thing, but this is more like an undoable.
That's going to be early stages of it, I'm sure, though.
That's the
But
development.
I could see with something like the Elon's Link, you could have something like this.
So would that be cybernetic technology?
Cybernetic,
More like part machine, part human, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they're saying that the AI can learn itself over the next couple of years, but 100 times more powerful.
Yeah.
So it could finding a way to integrating human and technology together. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting. So I did mention that my favorite anime of all time has to be the Macross series. So one of the technologies there, which would make a lot of things work really well, and I guess today we would call that like fusion. Fission,
Okay.
right?
Fusion.
It would be their version of it, which would be protoculture.
Oh, okay.
Right, which is this fuel source that is so powerful that it is able to fuel a super dimensional fortress that's larger than an entire city, allow it to transform and blow up the freaking universe when, when it does the overload, the reactor overload, and have jets fly around almost infinitely in space and transform into robots and have these powerful energy weapons. Right, so that type of technology is, I guess, is on its way.
Yeah.
In dark matter. In fact, I was reading somewhere, and you were there when we discovered that France actually turned on a fusion reactor for 22 minutes, and it generated 3 gigawatt hours of electricity in those 22 minutes.
Wow!
So this type of technology, this core, is kind of like that thing's huge. But if we can figure out a way to shrink it down, or have an alien race drop on our planet, and then we can just salvage the core out of their technology and figure it out.
Right.
I think that devices like that would be amazing. It would solve
a game changer.
It would solve the energy crisis.
They had this, I'll say technology, but they had this thing that a term used for our civilization as it grows.
Right.
Imagine encompassing the entire sun.
Right, that'd be a type 2 civilization.
Yeah, and it uses 100% of the sun's, and so the whole thing, the whole the planet.
A Dyson sphere?
Yeah, Dyson sphere, innit? It wraps around the entire power source. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We just live on the surface of it.
Yeah.
But that's really close.
It is close.
I could, like a small star, maybe, but how do you build it without getting sucked in or
Right.
Yeah, because all the power right now on Earth, on nuclear power, is nuclear, what do you call
fission.
Yeah, fission. So basically atom splitting, right? The sun's power is actually fusion, where you have 2 molecules fusing together, then it releases the energy. That's only available in the sun at the moment.
Yes.
So they're
Or
working
22 minutes in France.
Yes, 22 minutes in France.
Wow, okay.
That's a record. That's a
That
world record.
And
So
the biggest thing is to because the way they do that is they actually hit it with a bunch of lasers. The trick is running fusion here isn't the problem. The problem is putting that much power into it and getting more power out.
Right.
Because right now, a lot of the problem is we're pouring more power into it than it's come back out.
So for the people who kind of want to reference it, it'd be Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire with the Dr. Oct.
Yeah,
and he's doing that fusion. He's using the little that's the reference. Yeah,
so
fusion.
Lots of stuff is being worked on right now. Not at the level of scale of protoculture in Macros, where it's like it comes from a flower. It's a plant. So imagine plant-based fuels that have the ability to power large super-dimensional spacecraft that can fold and end up in another part of the universe because of that power source. No, that would be amazing. And this would also fuel our trips to the stars, because it is now a power source that is has a huge long lifespan, able to endure the test of the journey to Mars and beyond. Right? So crazy.
Well, the only thing I think of is, they recently launched is the James Webb Telescope.
Right.
Yeah.
So they've actually was able to actually see even more with that rather than the Hubble, and they found out a distant galaxy, like I don't know how many millions of light years away, billions of light years away, and they're saying that because they use something called redshift, something to do with the light and all that kind of stuff, wavelength. And it's older than we think, the universe, and it's expanding. So
but what we're seeing is an echo.
Yeah.
So that may not be there or may not be similar. By the time we get there, it'll be like super.
That light took like 14 billion years to get to us.
There's a bit of lag in the gaming term.
A little bit of lag.
Yeah.
A little bit input lag.
I mean, our closest sun, our sun itself is 8 minutes old. By the time we see our sunlight, it's already 8 minutes old, which means the next star is multiple years old, right?
Oh, yeah. And that's what I like about anime, where it doesn't take any of that science into So what you see in the anime is great, because it's imagination and that. But, with anime, are the people still like creating new anime, or is it just revamping?
All the time. We're at an all-time high.
So the capital of anime is actually Japan, right?
It
is. You have all the artists and creators.
Manga is the original anime. There's also manhwa, which is like a Korean anime.
Okay.
And then we have graphic novels.
Graphic novels, yeah. I see a lot of people, especially teenagers now, flipping through the graphic novels. And any graphic novel names or series have turned into manga or into anime?
Okay, well, I mean, he mentioned manga, so we can start there. Manga is one of the biggest ones is Solo Leveling right now.
Okay.
So that's actually the anime adaptation, which is in Japan, is based on the Korean novel.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's interesting though is so to adjust it for the Japanese market, they've changed some settings. It's now in Japan instead of where in the comic it's actually in Korea.
Okay.
But they've kept the Korean names if you've noticed.
Yes.
So some people like that, some people don't because they've actually changed the story a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Yeah. Another thing I want to ask, have anime turned, because at the moment it's just 2D, right? They have like 3D, like
3D
rendered?
doesn't do very well.
No.
So 3D rendering on the anime doesn't work.
Well, I guess the only anime that works, and this is down by the Macross lineage, is MacrosPlus, where singers, because of Macross, because of their revolutionary impact of having a singing person at the front of a super battle fortress win a war.
Yeah.
The idols are very much the core of society.
Yeah.
So Sharon Apple is an AI. AI.
Yeah.
So we have that. So she is an AI that is extremely jealous, I believe. That's the storyline, right? She's like furious that her inferior human self is loved more than
her complete beauty.
Right? So she's striving to be more, and she cannot, right? So the AI gets completely like crazy, and then the AI ends up in an aircraft, in which case the human must chase after, and one of the enemy soldiers, former enemy soldiers turned into the Federation, I guess, the UN Spacey, he has to go after because he's the only one gifted enough to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask about the AI, right? So imagine that girl, or that person, the AI, it's not physically bound to one place, is it? Really?
No, it could be anywhere in the universe.
It could be anywhere, really, couldn't it? Right?
So if anything, if we sent probes out and our AI could actually be in another galaxy, that would be like an instant. That would be quantum almost.
Right. In instant transmission.
Yes.
Because we're into this quantum sciencey kind of field where, if one AI is in one place, it's exactly the same AI in the other place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Weird.
Immediately.
So maybe some of the anime have kind of also looked into the future, like anime and AI and stuff like that. So what upcoming anime you think will cover a lot of the new stuff as a new technology coming along?
Well,
good question, honestly.
There's more robots. Like, for example, there is Gundam Quacks. Right. Kooks.
Okay, yeah.
Q-U-U-U-U-U something, but it's actually Quacks. I guess. That's got Gundam in it, right?
Gundam, yeah.
Huge robots that have some sort of unnamed power source.
Do they have a Gundam statue in Japan somewhere?
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a massive one in Yokohama.
Move?
Yes.
It does move?
It comes out, it walks. It's still tethered, but it walks out, and then it does a pose. It's actually massive.
Yeah. But it's starting to rust because it's so close to the...
But where's that based, though? Is that...
But that one is, I think it's its own character.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. It looks like the model, like the
the original, the model with the yellow,
the police looking one, right? But I don't know much about this new series, but the fact that you have huge robots all over again, that's the whole romance, is that we want power sources capable of actually building robots so powerful that they can actually stay
nimble.
They can actually be athletic,
right?
Robots these days are not athletic.
So it's all the moving parts, right?
Yeah. Human control, still got a human behind the wheel, probably AI assisted, because there's no freaking way.
There's too many inputs.
Well, apparently, do you know way they can get sort of that ability to be more nimble and more flexible is through what's the word? Hydraulics. Like rather than motor parts. Because with the hydraulic, compressed air, gas, whatever.
Yeah.
It's quicker, isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
Like muscle fiber stuff. Like they're actually working on stuff like that. I saw some interesting science where they actually created a hand, all the tendons,
All
and
the
everything
ligaments,
like that,
yeah.
and it's strong enough to actually pick things
Right.
up. But it looks weird.
It's really gross looking,
Gross.
and the skin is transparent. But like they were very proud. I
Yeah.
saw the similar article where they were very proud that they got the thumb to work.
Yeah.
Right, because our thumb is actually quite complicated.
It's very complicated. So having
What about the double
articulated,
jointed ones?
oh yeah, it's weird, right?
We haven't got there yet.
Yeah. So having articulated limbs, having all these
Yeah.
things to go into these devices at the scale, and having them trashed and being able to rebuild them
Mhm.
or refurbish them in the field while they're battling whatever the heck it is. This stuff can only happen if we have the power sources capable of running all those actuators
Yeah.
and having a very quick way to repair. Like that's the other thing. You don't just have huge fists.
Mhm.
So you're looking at the Iron Man.
The fusion core.
This isn't even large scale because that's a tiny little dude
Right.
compared to like a Gundam, right?
Yeah.
This thing is tons, right?
So I guess going back to your original question, like what technologies do I look for in like the new animes?
Yeah.
It's making me realize we have like in our today, right? We're looking at quantum computers.
Yeah.
We've got fusion, like proper fusion coming. We're kind of living in that futuristic present.
Yes.
But to your point, the biggest thing we're behind on is our battery power
Yes.
and just power in general, right?
Yeah.
We're way behind.
We don't have the energy sources capable of powering this. Like imagine if we had some sort of energy source that can actually cool a quantum computer, because you can cool something if you have enough power applied, like a pouch.
Yep.
If you had enough power on one side, you could super cool
Yeah.
another device, right? If this was limitless.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're not careful, the power goes back, and then you it's
Yeah.
the whole damn thing, like I
So-
did before.
And then that would give us our multiple quantum phases, in which case we could exist in multiple places at once. I don't know enough about physics, but I'm wondering if these quarks can actually qubits could live in different parts of the universe simultaneously, and they actually give us a glimpse of the other parts of the universe, right? I mean, I don't know if this is related to three-body problem or anything like that, but those aliens are on their way to Earth,
Right.
Yeah.
but they exist in different places,
Yeah.
right? What's the range?
now you're talking about like a type 3 civilization at that point.
So crazy. Any other anime technology that you've come across that might actually be like, do we have the capacity to actually have swords that big
Laser swords.
and actually be big swords?
like laser
No.
swords.
I want a cloud freaking sword that can actually be wielded, because how?
Okay.
How?
Cloud's based, like if you haven't seen it, his is massive, like
Yeah.
a 6 foot.
Or even Ichigo Zanpakuto.
Yeah.
Like how?
Yeah, Zangatsu is huge.
How?
Well, apparently it's weighted in certain areas so that it's easy to handle, isn't it? Apparently.
It's very balanced as best as you can, but I mean, when you get to this side, we're talking about like this is a 20, 30 kilogram sword.
And how do you get it into your like?
How do you put it away? So I guess a better technology in metal, right?
Material technology would
Yeah.
have to be
Yeah.
sufficiently advanced so that we believe it's magic,
Mm.
right?
So some sort of like carbon fiber like thing that's nanotubes. There you go.
Nanotubes, potentially, because carbon fiber would shatter on impact. So it would actually have to have the like it'd have to have the strength of steel
Mhm.
with the lightness of some sort of composite that
Right.
we haven't even thought of yet. Like
Yeah.
what materials could go together, or for that matter, what has landed on our planet that could actually mimic those capabilities, and then
Yeah.
we could still forge. I mean, is it adamantium? No, that's heavy.
Right.
Is it the stuff from Wakanda? That's like what is that stuff again? The Wakandan steel.
It's like unobtainium.
Something.
Yeah.
It's not adamantium because that is Wolverine.
Ant-Man.
It's
Oh,
Wolverine.
But Captain America's shield.
Oh, I was
It's
thinking
made
about
up.
What is that? I can't think
I
of it.
can't think of it. If you
What
think
is-
of it in the comments,
that.
please let us know.
I'll look it up now.
All right.
Now, one anime I would say is a really interesting watch is Dr.Stone.
Yes.
So this is where the premise is everyone's been frozen for many, many years.
Thousands of years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And essentially, the character we follow, he restarts. What is it?
Vibranium.
Vibranium.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
The character we're following, he's essentially restarting civilization
Yeah.
from ground. Like we're back in the Dark Ages.
Yes.
Okay.
Science
and
doesn't exist yet.
he has to reintroduce science. And it's really interesting to follow because it's if anyone's played like Factorio,
Yes.
it's a very similar premise where you've got like you literally have to go from rock and club to then building
Sticks and stones.
in the show. You know, he's gone as far as, you know, spoiler alert, as far as like building like radio walkie-talkies, right? So
The first cellular radio.
yeah,
right?
he's actually building transmission signals in the Dark Ages and within his own lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So he's accelerating, you know, the science of the world by tens of thousands of years.
Yeah. And then if you, this might be a spoiler for some because we're only on season 3
Right.
now. In the manga, they've already gone way past this. And we are looking at things like space travel, which I can't even fathom how they're going to get there. But science is amazing and he's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a great one. I highly recommend watching if you haven't started that.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the limitations of batteries and everything like that, we have 5% left on their batteries.
Okay.
So do we have any closing comments on what other technologies that we're looking forward to that might actually become the reality of today?
I'd say if I had one ask, if this has to be like warped into a technology, Hunter x Hunter,
Yes.
right? One of the abilities of one of the users is pocket dimension,
Yes.
right? I would pay anything for a pocket dimension where I could store my computer, my luggage, anywhere. I could sleep in it. You know, as someone who travels the world, the ability to reach into a pocket world and grab my charger because I forgot my charger, or my moose because, you know, I didn't get to moose today, that would be amazing. That's my one ask.
That's like raw dogging it, but to the end.
You need quantum computing for that.
I think for us, because we've been talking about the different universes, and by the time we get there, there's a bit of an input lag. I think super dimensional folding, which is not a technology that's specific to Macross. This is a technology that has some scientific and
Proper theorized,
It's theorized, and Battlestar Galactica has also been messing around with folding. Because for many seasons they've been chased by the Cylons across the universe back to Earth again.
Yep.
And then they had to scuttle the fleet, and then sure enough they come back again. It's a cycle that never breaks.
So you want dimensional folding is your ask?
I believe that would be very good, because if you have to travel through hyperspace, you still have to wait to get there, and there's still a lag.
Yeah. Right? Absolutely.
But by folding from one part of the universe to the other, you're actually in the present.
You're just there.
It's all linked, by the way. It's all linked, because for doing that, you need power source.
Yeah.
So if once we figure out power source, we'll be able to do that.
That's right. Is it by lithium crystals? Probably not, because that seems very limited.
Yeah.
Right?
This is Goku's instant transmission, if you've seen it.
That's right. Okay, and on that bombshell, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Michael, for being a part of our show for the last couple of episodes. And we'll probably end up seeing him in Japan.
And Computex?
Or more likely, Computex.
Taiwan.
We're going to talk about the AI Next, which is the theme of Computex 2025.
Okay.
Right? So from all of us, we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.